Hello. Apparently I don't exist. I decided to make a movie tonight. Don't know why. I've forgotten. I was going to tell you something. Oh yes. I can't remember what it was. Oh yeah, that's right. I was reading the news last week when Hatfield Times, you see, and there's my mate, the dual heist gang. What, jailed for arms, dual heist gang. Alright, that's a good name. There's Dan. Dan, he's been on some of my VHS movies, you might remember Dan. Oh, poor bastards, man. All my mates have been locked up in prison. You ever heard of the dual heist gang? That's a good name, isn't it? Dual heist gang. I didn't win it, but anyway, well, I'll read it to you. I'll read this article. I've got page 1 of the William Hatfield Times. Hold on. A Hatfield man has been jailed for his part in a £65,000 jewellery heist. God, I got 70 grand when my sister died. Which saw a terrified shop owner kidnapped. Daniel Stanley, 24, one of my mates actually, Daniel Stanley, 24, was one of a trio claiming to be armed, which got away with rings and Rolex watches from a Harpenden jewellers. On Friday, Stanley of Travellers Lane was given a 5-year sentence after admitting conspiracy to rob. St Albans Crown Court heard he and Jamie Kaliarasu, 22, and Ashley Latimer Basil. Ashley's another mate of mine, actually. And Ashley, he's a very good friend of mine, actually. And Ashley Latimer Basil struck at Love West Jewellers. Stanley and Latimer Basil kidnapped manager Michael Bars. The owner of the shop, who did not want to be named, blasted the sentence. He told the WHT, "These boys are young, and it is really a shame for their families more than anything. That and the difficulties it caused for us. I don't think they were professionals." Obviously not, because they were caught so quickly. The only thing is the repercussions on my manager being kidnapped. It wasn't easy for him, and it will take him long to recover. When people do this, you want them to get 20 years because we haven't recovered anything. That's a bollocks. Now let's face it, man. Okay, you want them to have 20 years. I say 2 years. I say 2 years. Robbed a fucking jewellery. Alright, big deal. It's not robbing off some person, which is a bigger crime, actually, Lee. Don't you think that is a bigger crime? Rob off a stranger, you know, a jeweller's or a bank. Yeah, good try. But don't rob off your friends, man. You don't rob off your own friends, do you? Why did you steal those checks, Lee? From me. I'm your friend. Pal. I'm supposed to be your friend, Lee. I'm supposed to be your fucking friend. And you steal my checks? That's not good. You tried to cash 500 quid off my money. I'm a bit upset with Hill. I'm a bit upset because all my friends have gone to prison for 5 years. I say 2 years for that. And say, look, you know, tell me the story when you get out, and I'll make a film. In fact, I'd like to go in myself in a way, but without getting arrested. Do they still have writers employed? Do you know once upon a time a writer could go into a prison and get a cell for a few weeks to see what it feels like? You know what I mean? What was it called? Jimmy Savile used to do it, actually. Jimmy Savile used to do it. Jimmy Savile used to have a flat in Broadmoor Hospital. I I'd like to get a flat one day and sort of like stick it in a prison sort of thing. Well, I'd like to live in a prison for a little while and get the feel of it without getting arrested, if you know what I mean. Just so I can write a good story about it afterwards. So I think prison stories sound pretty cool. Anyway, now I'm a bit pissed off with Lee because you nicked my checks, but I mean, this is a dual heist, you know, this was. But I mean, 60,000, that's nothing. I got 70,000 quid when my sister died. I'm really upset about it, to be honest. To be absolutely honest, I'm really gutted about it. Okay, I'm fucking gutted. My sister died last year. I got 70,000 quid. It means nothing, man. Money means nothing to me. In most ways. Well, I miss my sister dreadfully. Her money means nothing to me. Okay? 60 grand is nothing. 70 grand is nothing. But I'm not going to fucking let you steal my fucking check, you little wank. Alright, I can finish the story. Hold on. Anyway, I don't think they were up, but I think 3 years. Well, no, 2 years. 2 years maximum, really. Maybe 1 year, even. If they're polished. You know what I mean? So say, alright, okay, I did wrong, let me out. You know. But not. And you want them to extend the sentence. Like you said, the young men. What you said, what you actually said, this article, sorry, blah, 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 blah. When people do this, you want them to get 20 years because we haven't recovered anything. That's only, it's money. He told the WHT, these boys are young. These boys are young, and it is really a shame for their families, more than anything. That and the difficulties it's caused us. When people do this, you want them to get 20. Do you want my mates to be locked up for 20 years for robbing a fucking jeweler? Maybe a year, you know, get the feeling for what's like inside and then we'll get out again. I'll move. Anyway, it says the court heard Calisaro proposed a prospective groom called Jay to ensure the jewellery was in stock before he and the co-defendants kidnapped and robbed the manager. Kalearasu arranged to collect the jewellery and went to the shop at around 4:30 p.m. He established that the jewellery was in a safe before leaving without taking it for payment. Mr. Bars was kidnapped by Latimer, Basil and Stanley. The cotton hood put over his head. Although he could not see a gun, he was told robbers had one. Alison Morgan for Latimer, Basil and Stanley asked for credit for their guilty pleas at the first opportunity, saying the robbery was not sophisticated. Judge Stephen Gollick jailed Kalearasu and Stevens and Latimer, Basil from Ware for 6 years and Stanley for 5 years. Well, they say, anyway, he told them no doubt Mr. Barnes was terrified by these events. He said the robbery had been pre-planned and the victim had been alone in the shop and was vulnerable. Detective Sergeant Carolyn Taylor, lead the investigator, said this was a terrifying ordeal for the victim, who was held captive by the group while they stole thousands of pounds worth of jewellery for their own personal greed. Well, you know, they did a wrong. Okay, they did a wrong. Bad move. Now, look, man, if you're going to rob a place, for fuck's sake, use your intelligence. Do you know, I robbed a petrol garage once. I probably got away with more than about 20 grand over a couple of years. Me and my mate, the petrol garage is closed down now, so they can't arrest us for it. But I'm not exactly innocent myself. To be honest, I'm not exactly innocent myself. I'm an honest postman, a very honest postman. Okay, I'm a very honest postman. But I did rob a petrol garage for about 20,000 quid. Well, probably about 40,000 with Dave. Actually, it was Dave's idea, actually. Yeah, big Dave. Dave sunk. The petrol garage was closed down. And that was like, what? How long ago was that now? That was 1991, 92? It was about 91, 92. So that's about 92, 1,000, 20. That's about 23 years ago, Dave. Dave's son. So Dave, big Dave, you know. Do you remember Dave's son? About 23 years ago, anyway. And he persuaded me, you know. Big guy. Anyway, I mean, we used to rob this petrol garage for about, you know, £100 a day, or £100. We did. What we did was, like, we had this petrol garage, right, me and Dave, right, this how to do a real crime and get away with it, right, how to do a real crime and get away with it, right, are you learning now? Good. Me and Dave Sugg had a brilliant scam for about 2 years, it must have been about a year or two, I think about 2 years actually, Dave Sugg. And for 2 years, what we were doing, we used to be petrol garage attendants. You know, 2 less petrol garage attendants in the world, Dave. So Dave Sugg, 2 less petrol garage attendants in the world. We used to rob this petrol garage about 100 quid a night, man, at least each. Probably 100 quid each a night. What we used to do, we used to be petrol garage attendants, right, cashiers in a petrol garage. Whenever you got a big fucking, someone loading up their car with petrol, yeah, 50 quid or 20 quid. What we used to do, it was Dave's idea, I can't take the credit for it, it was Dave's idea. We used to have this petrol garage, and what happened, we were working there, and then every half hour, you know, when the cars drove off, we had a bit of a fucking problem. We had this power cut problem. There was this lever. There was this lever in the cupboard. And when you turn the lever down, all the lights go off, all the power goes off. Right, they have a power cut. And then the lights go on again. It was like Christmas every day for about 2 years. Dave Sugg, he's still about. It was fucking Christmas every day for about 12 years. Well, about 2 years, probably about 1 or 2 years. I don't know how long you were working on the petrol garage. No, it was 2 years. No, it must have been longer. It must have been about 3 years, Dave. Must have been about 2 or 3 years, because I got sacked for having long hair, a dirty beard and mounted and spectacles, didn't I? Water's garage. Must have been about, well, about 3 years or something. But me and Dave, every single fucking night, we had about 100 quid on the pumps. We flick the switch, bonk, power goes off. Switch back up, bonk. 100 quid in your pocket, Bill. Don't complain. Thwomp. Cheers, Dave. And then, sort of like half an hour later, Dave goes, power cut. And I go, alright, thonk! 100 quid in your pocket, Bill. Cheers, Dave. Thanks a lot. This was every fucking night for about a year, 2 years probably. But me and Dave Sugg. Dave, we used to work at this petrol garage, and every fucking night, man, every fucking night. Oh look, 50 quid, Dave. Bonk! Out! Oh! Fucking 50 quid just fell in my pocket every night. I mean, we must have made about 100 quid a night, Dave. Each. So Dave Sugg. You remember Water's Garage? I said Water's Garage. You remember Water's Garage? We must have made about 100 quid a night. Switching off the petrol pumps. It must look like Christmas tree lights going on off all the time. That's the truth, isn't it, Dave? We made a fucking fortune. You bought a motorbike. You bought a fucking motorbike out of it, didn't you, Dave? Isn't that funny? You actually bought a motorbike out of it. But we must have made about 100 quid each a night for about 2 years in Waters Garage, petrol garage conditions. And then Dave used to write my poetry on. Actually, yeah, that's another thing about Waters Garage. What Dave did, I gave Dave my poems, right? Dave's son. Gave him my poems, and he's an expert at handwriting, calligraphy. Is it calligraphy? Yeah, it's calligraphy. And he used to write, what Dave used to do is he used to write all my poems on like parchment, you know, really posh paper. Dave Suck used to write my poems onto this beautiful fucking paper, and then with his beautiful handwriting. Dave Suck, you got beautiful handwriting in here. And he used to write, he was like a mad monk sort of thing. But he used to write all my poems down, and we used to sell them in the fucking petrol garage, for God's sake. How weird is that, Dave? Dave Suck. Still in the house, Dave. Real Dave. But let's be honest, man, we used to make about 100 quid a night in the petrol garage fiddling their pumps. And then you used to write the poems out on parchment, you know, really rich paper. And we used to sell the poem, and I used to get you picture frames. That's true, Dave, isn't it? That's true, Dave, isn't it? Yeah, Dave. That's what we used to do. Because I used to give you I gave you all my poems, and you used to write it out, and we used to frame the poems, didn't we? And then we used to sell the poems. We used to sell my poems in the fucking petrol garage. How fucking weird is that, Dave? Yeah, let's finish that.